There we go. All right. Awesome. So forget that first intro. Here we go with the Run Your Day podcast. This is Dan Hafner joining you here. Today's topic, we're going to have an interview here. I'm streaming it live here on our, well, not live. I'm recording it here for our Facebook page and recording on audio at the same time. So never done this before, full disclosure for everyone out there. So I'm like juggling 19 things as we go. So our guest today is a woman by the name of Lydia Scratch. She is the coach of Stoic Solutions Coaching. She's here to talk to us a little bit about what she does today. We're going to talk about Stoicism, how it all applies, how it works. And I really don't know a whole lot of much about it myself, so I'm going to learn along with you guys today. So, Lydia, go ahead and introduce yourself to us and tell us about what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Dan. And thanks again for arranging this. It's a great opportunity for me to preach the word of Stoicism.
No problem.
I recently just quit my full-time, well-paying job to dive in fully into this Stoicism and coaching because it turns out that's what was on my heart for 20 years. I have a lot of experience in public engagement, both with political officials and with local communities and Indigenous or First Nations or American Indian communities. And, you know, I just got to a point where I'm like, I'm done. I'm not a 9-to-5 office gal. My passion is Stoicism. My passion is helping people directly. So let's just do it. And I have to say, pardon?
When did you do that?
Today's February 26th. So about 5 weeks ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, this is new. This is fresh.
Wow, that's so crazy. I don't know if you listened to the show or not before, but Will had also just done that. The guy I interviewed here not long ago.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for both of you guys.
You know, financially, it's a bit precarious, but, you know, we've got some plans. We have some nest eggs as necessary. But I can't tell you the difference it makes in your life when you embrace fully what it is you want to be doing, that you need to be doing, what you should do. So it's an amazing feeling.
That is so cool.
Thank
wow.
you.
Okay, so I have a whole bunch of other questions for you.
Sure,
To go
bring them
along
on.
with that, but before I get into that, you know, just explain to anyone, especially to me and everyone on here, you know, what is Stoicism and really, you know, how does it work?
Okay, Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy. Some of the big proponents and practicers of Stoicism go back to this being alive at the same time as Jesus Christ. So it started, you know, 200 BC and kind of developed after there. And Stoicism is basically how to live a good life. It's instructions. It's a philosophy that bases its principles in action. And you know, there's so much written on Stoicism, as I've found. But there are three basic tenets that Stoicism gives us to help us lead a good life. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. The first thing is you concern yourself with only what is in your control. So that's the first thing. Is it in your control? Is it not in your control? Another thing is they call it memento mori. It's remember you're going to die, which sounds a little morbid, but when you kind of dig into what the Stoics were saying, they're just saying, live your perfect life today. You have today. Yesterday's gone. You don't need it anymore. And you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that shouldn't factor in. Live your best life today. And the other main tenet is treat obstacles as something to be embraced and something to overcome. And I know you just said at the very beginning that you really weren't familiar with Stoicism. Going through a lot of your podcasts, dude, you're a Stoic. You talk about obstacles and you talk about perception. And when it comes to the thing about, is it in your control? The only thing you can control are your own reactions. So that kind of gives you a little bit of, okay, it gives you perspective. And, It's funny. I first came across Stoicism when I read Mark Manson's book, Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. I don't know if this is a G-rated or not. And his main tenet in there is, it might not be your fault that something bad happened, but it's your responsibility to deal with it in an appropriate way. And that just really resonated with me. And so this is kind of how I've been going through. So dude, you're a Stoic, just like Mark Manson is a Stoic. The serenity prayer, the God give me the wisdom to know what I can and cannot change. It's a bad paraphrase. But again, that's based in Stoicism. A lot of the really popular personal development books out these days, thinking of Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face, it's Stoic.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about just, is it in your control? Now is what matters, and treat everything to be embraced. Every obstacle is something to be embraced.
So it's funny you say that, because that was one thing when I looked at your website that it really kind of, when I saw the books that you have stacked up on there on your homepage, like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Girl Wash Your Face,
Absolutely.
all of these, I was like, huh, interesting, because I've read like 3 of those. So I was like, okay. I mean, my wife actually has Girl Wash Your Face. I don't think she's finished it yet, but she has been reading that one also.
It's a great book. I
Yeah,
really can highly recommend it.
Yeah, I even want to read it as well. So
you should.
But that's what's really I love to hear you say that, because that, like, that is one thing I think I have harped on. It's been like an underlying theme in a lot of my podcasts and stuff, is this whole concept of, like, the last year of my life has been like a major personal development time, a major breakthrough of a lot of different things. That's kind of what I try to bring every day. So I 100% agree with that. Excuse me. That, shit happens, right? Like, things happen all the time. And there have been a bunch of different, precarious situations that I've put myself in, that I've put, our family in, or things like that. But at the end of the day, no one is coming to save you, right? Like, you are 100%. I was listening to another podcast I listened to, and it was, you create your conditions, right? Whether
100%.
If you wake up and your life is terrible, or you have all these different problems, like, it's your fault, right? But if you wake up and your life is awesome, and you got all kinds of money, and you got this marriage in this nice house, like, you created that, right?
Yeah.
You create your conditions.
Yep.
You don't have to wait on anybody. You don't have to wait for things to happen. Like, you create whatever you bring, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so that personal responsibility is really central to Stoicism. And it's really freeing when you start to realize that it's on you. Your happiness, your sadness, your depression, your hunger, anything like that, that is on you. And when you realize that that's in your control, it gives you an excellent opportunity to then act on it. And like I said, Stoicism is a philosophy of action. And the fact that it pops up everywhere is pretty telling. I mean, when I read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I was like, whoa, this is Stoicism. He doesn't mention the word Stoicism.
Yeah.
But it's a really influential book that a lot of people have grabbed onto, and they don't know that this is Stoicism.
Awesome. That's really, really cool. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit here, and like, walk me through, like, your personal life. Like, what are you married? You have kids? Like what goes on? So
yeah, I'm married. I've been married for almost 20 years. I have a 15-year-old son who dropped hockey to do competitive dance. And I've got an 8-year-old daughter who lives the world out in her imagination like nobody's business. I live in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. It's cold. I love the house I live in. I love the people I live with. And now that I'm actually taking responsibility for my own life, I love the life I'm living right now. So coaching is kind of a side hustle right now. I have a couple of clients and seems to be going really well. And then another side hustle I picked up is writing for an e-learning company, writing about the project management professional exam. So that's kind of everything that's going on in my life right now. And I can do it from wherever. And this is so key to me. It turns out I'm not a 9-to-5 office gal. I played that role for 18 years, and it's not me. So finding ways to fulfill my own passion and pay the utilities has been really great. So that's my personal state right now.
Okay, so I'm interested. I didn't know that this happened like 5 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been building for quite some time.
Right.
I took some coaching training last May, and there was just like I just needed that little push. And actually, that little push was being absolutely miserable in my job. That's what pushed me, and it just was dragging down my personal life. It was dragging down my professional life. And it was a point where my husband, God bless him, said, like, stop. I supported him 5 years ago when he quit a job that was miserable, that was making him miserable. And he said, stop. I'm going to do this to you now. It's done. The money's not worth it. So, I mean, it's 5 weeks that my website's been up.
Okay, so what did you do before?
Excuse me. I was a community and Indigenous engagement advisor for a big oil pipeline company. So I traveled all across Canada, never went into the States, but I traveled all across Canada from the Northwest Territories, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. And I met with local community leaders, local Indigenous groups, to help them understand what project was going to be going on in their area.
Wow.
So again, it was kind of a helping thing, and I really enjoyed the one-on-one and even presenting in front of groups in open houses or in community meetings, and taking this esoteric engineer talk and bringing it down to something that people could understand. And sometimes they didn't agree with me, and that was fine. It was respectful. So, I mean, it was if the engineer mucky mucks got in there, and apologies to anyone who's an engineer mucky muck, they would go there and they would talk like way up here.
Yeah.
And it's not respectful conversation.
Right.
So being able to bring it down to a layperson talk.
Okay.
And that's where I found the most fulfillment out of my job, was when I was helping people understand what was going on.
Well, that has to do a lot with coaching, right? Like kind of coming down to someone's level and being like, okay, like this is kind of where you are. And even though I'm like up here, you have to meet people where they are. Right.
100%.
So
that's
awesome.
the key for,
okay.
That's key to good communication. Meet them where they're at.
You kind of revealed a little bit about, what happened, like God bless your husband for just like stepping in and being like, hey, look, like this isn't working. You need to do something different, which is super commendable. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, tell me a little bit more about that. Like what changed about your mental state, or like that making that decision, like what walk me and the viewers through like the internal stuff that goes on when you're faced with a decision like that.
So to any of your viewers or listeners or your wife, there's a chapter in Girl Wash Your Face called I'm Not Good Enough, maybe. And it's a story of how the author was a workaholic. And she got so much praise and attention from being really good at her job. So she just kept working. And, she had kids, she had a husband, she had a regular life, she had this. But the only thing she could really control was her work life. And she'd get back home and it'd be all chaos and kids and lessons and hockey and all of those sorts of things. And she'd feel out of control. So you want to spend, you want to spend more time where you have control. And so that's what happened to me. I was really, really good at my job. Did I love it? No. Was I good at it? 100%. And so I just got to the point where I was giving probably about 90% of myself to my job. I traveled a lot, and that was hard. It was hard on everyone, kids, husband, my own friendships. So that was tough. And to realize that 90% of myself is being given to something that has no real value. I could be cut out and no one would know. No one would care. But it was actually getting to the point where when I'd get home from work, I'd already been working just way up here, that, come around 7 o'clock at night, I would shut down. Turns out that's called dissociating. And I saw a therapist for a good 6 months, in addition to my primary healthcare physician and a neurologist, because I had some other stuff going on. But I would shut down. It was like I had given my all to my job, and I came home and I had nothing. And that doesn't make for a very happy mom, a very happy wife, a very happy friend, a very happy sister, because I couldn't deal with anything that wasn't work. And I saw this too. But it's hard to drop something you're really good at, even if it makes you miserable.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I can resonate with a lot of what you say. Like I see that, disassociation in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even including myself and my wife at times, like with what we do and how hard we work all day and then come home and like it's just like that. It's just like right. And you move into this method of sedation, right? Like you move into this place of where like your brain's just so overworked and overstimulated that you're just like, I just want to watch Netflix or just scroll through my Facebook feed and not really pay attention. I don't have, time to play with my kids or like do whatever else.
Yeah.
And like, we don't have kids yet, but like, I can only imagine if we did, you know what I mean? So,
and it is tough. My therapist talked about it you have your zone of tolerance, and then there's hyperarousal, and then under here, there's hypoarousal. And I was spending a good 80-90% of my days in hyperarousal. So that when the moment came where I wasn't being super aroused by work or performance or any of those things, I just zoom right down into the hypoarousal and I cut out. And, it's learning about perfectionism, learning about being enough, worthy, or being worthy just in and of yourself. I mean, there was a good 6-month journey for me to get to the point where I was like, no, I'm choosing to say no to you. You are not my life. And I'm going to embrace what it is that I want to do. So it's, I'm 45, and it was kind of weird to be starting brand new at 45. But again, I haven't felt better in years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So awesome. That's so awesome. Okay. So, getting back to what you do now, what results are you after? Like what are you hunting down?
When I work with my clients, they generally have a goal. And that goal could have been societally induced. It could be something that they've always wanted to do. One of my clients really wants to start his own home inspection business. And he's been wanting to do it for a long time. But there's been a block. He knows the answer to his problem. He knows what the solution is. And I call myself a solutions-focused coach, because that's what I want to get people to. And on my website, I talk about how it's really just it's a basic process. What do you want? Why do you want it? How are you going to get it? And a lot of people they know what they want, but they get stuck on why they want it. And I found many of my clients get stuck when they start talking about why they want. Well, because it'd make me happy. It's a good paying job, because I could stay at home. I'm like, but what's the why? I mean, Simon Sinek's you have to go for the why. What's your why? So a lot of what I do is dive into why they want what they want. And so it's a values-driven exercise. And I can tell you 2 years ago, if someone asked me what my values were, I would just been shut down. I'd be like, well, I guess I'm a good person. I'm a good mom. I mean, I know I have values. I'm not a sociopath. So a lot of what I do is help people see their values. And then when they see their values, it's like, click, this, oh, and there's that aha moment. And as a coach, it is so fulfilling when you walk someone towards that aha. So they know what they want. And so I help them understand why they want it. And then this is one thing coaches do, different from therapists and a lot of other very awesome professions. Then we focus on the accountability. How are you going to do it? Let's start talking. And I will get nitty gritty. Okay, so you're going to reach out to 3 real estate agents this week. This is all a joint effort to figure out what they need to do. I generally meet with my clients once a week through video. I'm accessible by text and email as well. And so they might send, hey, what do you think of this logo? And so that's kind of fun. But it's the steps that I hold them accountable to. So when I see them the next week, it's like, did you reach out to the 3 real estate agents? How did that go? And it gets them talking again. And part of my job is to remind them of their why so that they can go forward. But it's the accountability and the awareness of their why. That's where the value of my coaching comes into the clients I've worked with. And again, Stoicism underlies it all. Is it in your control? Can you do what you can today and treat everything, all those obstacles I couldn't get in through to these real estate agents because their admin assistants wouldn't let me pass them. Okay, what do you do? And how to overcome those. Excuse me.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So yeah, and as you were saying that, two things stuck out of my mind like that. I remember when you said getting down to the why, I remember something from Brendan Richard about just like, why?
Yeah.
You have to be like a 2-year-old, right? Like,
exactly.
Why? I did this with myself the other day about a question that I've been having. And I was like, oh, shit. All right. That's okay.
And so often in today's society, I've mentioned it's been going like this through millennia, is you might ask yourself the first why and be able to answer it. And then the second why might be able to answer that. Beyond that, the why gets hard. And we live such a cushy life that as soon as we see something hard, we're like, okay, I'm out. And we distract ourselves. We check our phone, we'll see what's on Netflix, we'll do those sorts of things. So to be able to sit with yourself, and the fact that you've done this, Dan, is just amazing that why? And to be able to sit with that discomfort, it's an amazing thing. Right. So I'm the coaching equivalent of an annoying 2-year-old. Why? Why?
I like that. That's funny. And then, and then the other thing that I really think, and by no means, I'm not trying to like tell you how to run your business or anything like that. Great. But like one thing when you said that the 3 things, I love that because that's like one thing that in a coaching program that I'm part of, they really stress those 3, but then there's also a 4th, which incorporates a time-based thing. Is like when. Like putting that leverage on there to be like, okay, this is what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
This is why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and then by when. Okay, you're going to have this done by Friday at 5 p.m. Perfect. If it's not done by then, why? Like what happened, right?
I like that extra little bit of accountability there.
Yeah, and the only reason I picked up on that was because like I've been thinking about doing the same type thing. And then you went into it and I was like, wow, she's like, like this is what I want to do too. That's really cool. So then how does Stoicism, underlie all that?
It really comes down to those, is it in your control? Right now is what matters. Marcus Aurelius, one of the major Stoics, he has a thing, or he has a saying, and I can't get the exact quote right now, but it's along the lines of, why wait to be the best man you can be? Do that now. And so now is what matters. Love your fate. What stands in your way becomes the way. And this is Ryan Holiday's book, Obstacle is the Way.
I've heard that one.
That's what it is. The obstacle becomes your way. Then there's the you are what you think. This is my really umbrella statement for your perceptions. In your perceptions, avoid good and bad. They just are. So there's no inherently good or bad in nature. There only are perceptions. So someone could insult you and say your microphone is way too small for what you're doing right now. This is crazy. I don't know why you're doing that. And you could take that and you could be, is it true? Okay. Is it false? Okay. And you put it aside. So you are what you think. Avoid good and bad perceptions. One of the other things is the premeditation of adversity, which is the ancient way of saying risk management. Imagine the worst thing that can happen. And I think Tim Ferriss kind of goes into this when he talks about embracing failure and seeing what you're afraid of. It's embracing fear. Imagine so I quit my job. I cut our household income in half. What's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, the worst thing that can happen is we lose the house. We can't stay in this house that we love. Okay. And what would cause that to happen? So you kind of work back from the worst case solutions so that you're even more prepared and even more resilient if those things happen. And it's so commonsensical. And this is what kills me about it is, and again, the fact that it's spoken up in all kinds of places in pop culture now is really interesting. But it's just kind of embracing life as it is in front of you. It's like, here's the plate. There are no hidden messages or anything in here. Here is what life is giving you. Deal with it. You mentioned earlier, shit happens. That was actually what I wanted to call my company. But I figured shit happens coaching is probably not gonna fly.
I mean, it's
but
interesting.
It's true though, shit happens. And so Stoicism really equips you to be able to deal with the shit when it happens. It builds that resilience, it builds that perspective, and it builds your ability to roll with the punches.
I love it all. I mean, it's funny because I feel like I remember some of this. Like I took some Greek classes in college and stuff, but yeah, coming back to it like this, it really sounds like a lot of the program that I'm in has taken a lot from this, because like when you talk about stories being true and false, like that's like, it's literally life changing. Like the fact that I've been part of that, and now I see it in someone else doing it. I'm like, wow, that's
legit.
It's legit. It's crazy.
It's legit.
So, not that I doubted it or anything beforehand. I've seen the results in my life. I don't need any other validation. But for
and you don't though. You know how it affects you.
Oh yeah, by far.
That's
yes,
what matters.
Absolutely. So, okay. I mean, this has been awesome. So, I mean, we're just going to start wrapping it up here. This is your chance here. What type of things do you offer? How can people get in touch with you and find you? What services do you offer?
Right now, I have a coaching package. I'm with my website is stoicsolutionscoaching.com. And you can email me at Lydia, Lydia, at stoicsolutions.com. Right now I'm offering a 3-month package because I find when you've got a big, hairy, audacious goal, it takes some time to get there. So I have a 3-month package, and I also can do one-offs just to kind of like a little reset. And really what I want to do is understand people's complex and unique ideas, help them consider alternative ways of looking at their challenges so they don't see challenge, they see opportunity. Be their accountability partner, and really help them bring their own creative problem-solving skills to the issue. I really, really believe that all of our answers are inside us, in our brain, locked away. And it just takes some of those careful, thoughtful questions to peel away so that people come to their aha moment and say, well, shit, this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
And then hold them accountable to it.
Okay. That's awesome. And, for just as we wrap up today, like, I just want to make it very clear to everyone that, like, I'm not a client of Lydia's, just to preface this, but like, hell, I might even go check out, like, cause that sounds like absolutely awesome and perfect. And like, this whole time I've sat here like, this is the exact type of stuff that I've been doing, like, in a different capacity over the last like 9 months. And I'm like an unrecognizable person. And,
Wow.
and it's for anyone out there, like, questioning whether, like, could this benefit you? Could you get real results out of this? Like, I promise you, like what that is all true. It's all inside of you. It's all up to you. It's true. And it's hard. There's a process there. And I like that you have a 3-month thing. Like, it's process. You might even want to think about doing a longer one. Like, honestly, like, it takes time. It takes, and I didn't understand that at first. Like, I was like, I want results now.
Ugh,
and it's like,
see me my first 2 weeks of therapy. I'm not better yet. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that is going to be a wrap for today. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I really look forward to keeping in touch with you and updating you on my Stoic philosophy journey.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have you back on at some point in the future. We really want to hear your story now. I mean, to take the leap 5 weeks ago and to make it happen. I mean, let's go. We'll get behind you. We'll rally. I mean, I want to see how things are going. So,
okay, I really appreciate your interest.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Lydia. Really appreciate it. This has been the Run Your Day podcast. Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.